mean, I got in trouble for going to a Bible study, and I got called a whore, and a glass was taken and broken on my head. In that moment, I could have said, God's not there for me. Why would he allow this person to abuse me and call me out of my name because I took 2-3 hours to spend time with God, and I came home at 10:30 and now I'm a whore? Hey loves, welcome back to the Aphrodite podcast, where I teach you to be unapologetically your authentic self. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about believing in something bigger than us. In a society that tells us that the self is so important and there's a lot of pride on our self-accomplishments or what a person has materialistic or family-wise, it's very hard to know how to move throughout the world. A lot of us are either following what our family shows us to do, or a lot of us mimic people that we may find inspiring. So one thing I want to focus on, in today's society, it's hard to tell someone to believe in something bigger or spiritual because a lot of people have a lot of inner conflict within themselves, and whether that be childhood trauma or abuse that happened through relationships or friendships, the ego is conditioned to believe certain sets of concepts and ideas, and once those ideas and concepts start becoming second nature, it's hard to realize that concepts aren't working for you anymore and to realize that you need to grow. Sometimes we think we are comfortable where we're at because it just works for us, and you may be getting by, but is that actually how you want to live your life? It's hard to want to do better for yourself because it's unknown, it's unfamiliar. So your mind, your ego will tell you that you need to stay within that comfort. For example, people who say that they always want to work out, or they want to lose weight, or they want to get toned or put on muscle. Taking the actions to do that is very hard. It's hard to form a habit. It takes 21 days to form a habit. It takes 90 days to make that habit permanent in your mind. So when you start telling your mind, I want to be bed rotting all day, I don't want to procrastinate on my homework, I want to get better at going to the gym more regularly or just do more productive things, when you start telling your mind that you want to change, you get this resistance. That's where a lot of us fail, because that resistance is so hard and so uncomfortable that we rather stay in that lack or in that energy of fear and doubt. The reality is you don't see yourself actually achieving that, because if you did see yourself achieving that, you would put yourself through the discomfort because you see the prize at the end. A lot of people base their goals on motivation. In fact, you should be basing your goals on discipline, because motivation is fleeting. One moment you're going to feel like you want to do something, the next moment you're not going to want to. If you're always just waiting for the right moment to feel in the right mood to do something, to make the change, to change how you think, you're never gonna get there. It's hard, especially if it's not an outward thing like working out or eating better or just building better routines, and it's something more complicated like changing the way you think about yourself or changing the way you've been conditioned to think about other people. It's hard to take that step to reflect because, one, you don't know if you're doing it right, so there's this perfectionism that a lot of people have. If I'm not going to do it right, there's no point in me succeeding. So anytime you want to do better for yourself, or anytime you want to change something or question it or criticize it, and then that makes you go back because you hold other people's validation more higher than yourself. That's something that each individual would have to work on, not making other people's opinion or validation more important than your own. To believe in something bigger than us, believing in the universe and energy, is what I would suggest for people who can't accept or understand the concept of something spiritual. I would say to model your life based off of the frequency chart or chakras. Both of those are good models, and I'll put up the frequency chart here. And basically, the highest level of the frequency chart is love. It's admitting love with everything you do. There's no anger, there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no fear, no jealousy, Love is the highest frequency that you can emit. Love for yourself, love for others, love for things. On the polar opposite, there's fear, shame, guilt. All those negative emotions, whether it be towards yourself or people. And usually if it's towards people, you're emitting that shame, that guilt. It's because you feel it within yourself. It's the law of attraction. What you vibrate is what you're going to receive. So if you're emitting shame, you're emitting guilt, you're going to surround yourself with people who will guilt, shame you. They will talk bad about people, those low energy vibrations. Because you don't believe that you can vibrate at that frequency where you're active, where you're doing the things you set your mind to and actually following through. Because you don't see yourself or you don't believe that you deserve that, you're going to surround yourself with people who also reaffirm those beliefs. Your emotions are energy in motion. So we are placed on this earth to have a human experience. That we're not meant to act on our emotions, we're meant to observe our emotions. So a lot of us, like I stated earlier with working out, a lot of us won't put ourselves through working out because we want to be comfortable. We want to have the extra meal or eat unhealthy or stay in bed or go out and party with friends or just sit down and watch TV. You don't want to put yourself through the discomfort of improving yourself. Part of you likes that comfort, even if you're not happy with your body or you're not happy with the way you eat. You're comfortable enough to keep doing it. That's why there's no change. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, that time is going to pass. But some of us are so stuck in the comfort and validation of others that we don't want to change ourselves because we've been convinced that some of us won't put ourselves through that discomfort because we continue getting the validation outside of ourselves because we don't believe that we can accept our own validation. So with the frequency chart, you really need to take a piece of paper, write down all the things that you want to improve on. There could be shame because you may think, okay, I've been on this earth for 30 something years, 40 something years, and I'm not happy with my body. So what's the point of putting myself in an uncomfortable environment, the gym, where people are going to look at me and see that I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to be uncomfortable doing the workout, and I'm going to be sweating, and I'm not going to look good. All this outward fear of what other people think, putting other people's opinions and validation over yourself. You need to see that and see, okay, I'm vibrating at this low frequency. To change it, you're going to have to convince your mind that you can do different. When you have a feeling of, I want to go to the gym, and your mind is like, but I don't really feel good, I'm kind of tired, I don't really want to get up and try to figure out what I'm going to wear and how I'm going to get there. You have to convince your mind and say, it doesn't matter what you think, this is what I want to get done. So listen to your body. If you are physically tired, I'm not saying ignore your body, but convince your mind convince yourself how much you can get done. It doesn't always have to be, I have to do it perfect. Like I was saying, perfectionism isn't a reality. That's not something that you should model your life after. It should be, how can I be better than my previous self? Whether that be yesterday, whether that be 1 week ago, whether that be 1 year ago, you have to see the little things. Making your bed, cleaning your house, cleaning your apartment, taking a shower regularly, cleaning yourself, self-care, whether that be a nighttime routine or a morning routine. These little actions that you do, even though your emotions may not align with them, that is how you show yourself unconditional love. By doing these things, you're showing yourself unconditional love. You're telling your mind and your body that it doesn't matter what I feel, or how uncomfortable I am. I'm going to show up for myself. That is self-love. Once you start doing that and you keep repeating it, 21 days, you have a habit. 90 days, now it's engraved in your mind. Your life can change in 6 months. But a lot of people are more comfortable with sticking around people that will validate their actions. Oh, they're not working out, they're sitting, they're drinking, so I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna drink, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. Or you will feel bad about it, but you'll feel good because you're sitting in your comfort and you're not putting yourself in discomfort to grow. You have to learn how to fall in love with the progress of becoming better than the end goal. You shouldn't think, oh, there's this body or image that I need to achieve, that's why I'm gonna go to the gym. That's a good goal, sure, you need to know where you're headed. But it should be the everyday actions of, oh, I got up today and I stretched and I went for a walk or a run, and I came back, I took a shower, I made myself something to eat. I feel good about myself. I did that for myself. Even if it's 30-40 minutes that you just put in towards yourself. The more you do it, the more you start to retrain your mind that, hey, this person actually loves themselves. They're doing stuff to better themselves. Maybe what they grew up hearing isn't true. Maybe what their friends are saying, why would you work out? Why are you wearing that? Why are you speaking this way? Those stuff aren't true because you're teaching your mind that something else, something better exists. Believing in a higher power, I could understand why some people would be hesitant or completely turned off by that idea. A lot of us have a secondhand relationship with God, and by this I mean we think because we know a couple Bible verses, or we go to church on Sundays, or because you may say a prayer asking God for things, that you have a good relationship with God. But a lot of us are vibrating, like I said previously, at such a low frequency that the intention behind it isn't actually pure. So you don't actually have a true relationship with God because you're operating out of fear, you're operating out of shame, you're operating out of negativity. You can't say you know God and you're gossiping and you're talking about other people. Did you hear this about this person? This person's doing this, this, and this. Why does she think she can do that? That type of negative energy, or even just drinking to numb the pain, or drinking to forget about your reality, these energies block you from having a better relationship with God. And I'm not saying you can't go to God if you have a problem with gossiping or if you have a drinking problem. God will receive you how you are. But it's always about the improvement of wanting to do better. You can't come to God and be like, I want to be better. But then when the time comes to show up for yourself and to correct your ways and to correct your train of thought, you then don't change and then still go back to God and be like, well, God, and it doesn't make sense. How can you continue, for example, to steal and you keep asking God for forgiveness, but then every time you go to the store, you want to steal again? Or another example is gossiping. You go to church and you're singing praises and you're talking about kindness and showing the love that God gives, but then you get home or you get around your friends, you get around the table and drinking, and then all of a sudden this negative energy is coming out. You can't be holy during holy hours and then completely forget everything you just heard and become someone different. And a lot of us are, like I said previously, are vibrating at such a low frequency because other people have done you wrong. So you feel that it's justified to act the way I'm acting because people have done me wrong. It's justified that I have this addiction because I was abused, I was sexually assaulted, I was beat by my husband. I was never told I love you. I was never told you are beautiful, you are strong, no positive reinforcement has been put into your life, so you justify the negative things you do because this victim mindset gives you validation. I don't want to do better in my life. I don't want to progress or get an education or work or do anything better for myself because my whole life I was treated badly. You can't justify doing negatives because negatives were done to you. The only person you're hurting is yourself. That's why forgiveness is such a big thing in religion and just in general in life. You don't have to tell people that you forgive them. Forgiveness is for yourself. You have to forgive yourselves and the actions of others, because if you don't, it's gonna hold you back from being your highest self, from feeling the love, the unconditional love of God. And a lot of people will say, well, God is not fair. How can he put me through the abuse, through the physical abuse, through the marital abuse, through hearing all those negative things from your friends, from your family, from whoever? How can God put that in my life and expect me to still turn to him? When I would say, the world is unfair, but God is fair. And a Bible verse that I like to refer to is, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That doesn't mean that you won't be cut. That doesn't mean that you won't be scratched. Things will hurt you. Things will happen to you. But you have to retrain your mind to think, how can that better me? What was the lesson from that pain, from that suffering? And some of us get stuck in that pain because we don't know how to process it. We don't know how to understand it. Instead of turning to God and receiving the help you need in therapy to better understand your emotions and what it is you went through, you turn to alcohol. You turn to gossiping and seeking validation from other people, other families, other community members, because you lack that sense of security in yourself to know that everything happens for a reason. Everything is a domino effect. And based off the actions that you take, the domino can go this way or it can go that way. It could go for you or it could go against you. And the devil will test you. That's what I believe happens. The devil tests you because he knows that our minds are weak without believing in something higher than ourself. If you believe in just yourself, you get misguided. You don't have a sense of direction of a life that you should be living. You live based on your principles, and then you're surprised when things go wrong and you don't know how to get out of it, or you don't know how to validate your own emotions so you can process the hurt and the pain and come on the other side. The devil knows your mind is weak. Once 2 or 3 bad things happen, you turn your ways. You're like, you know what? God's not there for me. I'm gonna continue going back to my old ways. When you're stuck in that constant cycle of not wanting to do better because you don't see better, because you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe that anything good can happen to you, that's when you get stuck in the cycle of bad things occurring in your life. It's not about bad things will always happen. It's about how you look at it. It's about what you focus on and what you put attention and time into. When I was in high school, I used to go to Bible study. I knew God. I would have told you that I knew God back in high school. But I was at a place where I had so much fear and there was so much uncertainty and so many bad things happening in my life that I didn't fully believe that God had me. I mean, I got in trouble for going to a Bible study, and I got called a whore, and a glass was taken and broken on my head. In that moment, I could have said, God's not there for me. Why would he allow this person to abuse me and call me out of my name because I took 2-3 hours to spend time with God, and I came home at 10:30 and now I'm a whore? How can a God let that happen to his child? You have to understand that when you start to vibrate and change your ways because you believe that there's good, that there's love in this world, the people around you will start to attack you. Whether that be they speak ill on you or they physically harm you, because they themselves cannot find that peace or that joy of wanting to know and do better. They can't lead themselves there by themselves. So they shame you, they guilt you, they abuse you, so you don't continue on your journey. You can either let that consume you and be the end of you, and you fall into addiction, you fall into the same patterns that these people are putting onto you, or you say, you know what, God, this is out of my hand. I don't know why this is happening to me, but I know on the other side of it, once I get through it, once I endure, that I will be saved, that I will find peace within myself, that these people are just testing me to see if whether my heart is true or if I'm just putting on a show. Because a lot of people will put on a show. They'll preach things and say that they're living just lives, and then when it becomes behind closed doors, that's where the devil comes out. And then when the truth comes out in public, then they run and they hide and they deny. You can either fully put your faith in you and in God, because God is within you, or you can believe the worldly things, the things of this world. And when you're vibrating at such a low level, you are of this world, because unconditional love is such a high frequency, it's putting so much trust and faith in yourself and something bigger, that it doesn't matter what my world looks like. It doesn't matter what's in front of me. I know that I am secure within myself. I know what my values are. I know what I believe in, despite what other people are telling me, despite what my mind may challenge me and make me doubt. I can find myself back to those core values that emit love, emit joy, emit kindness and growth. A lot of us know what we have to do to become better, to show unconditional love. But a lot of people would rather stay with the devil that they know than the uncertainty of the future, the uncertainty of the change in the future. And I'm not saying right away you have to have this big faith and live by certain rules. God knows you're imperfect. God knows that it's going to be hard. You're going to be tested. You just have to have faith the size of a mustard seed. You have to believe that if you put the work in, and that you can, and you stay consistent, and you start reconditioning your mind to not believe the negative thoughts of others, and you start to show yourself love. It starts with you. If you don't love yourself and you're hating on yourself because of your body, you're hating yourself because of the things that happen to you, you're hating yourself because you were told that you are nothing and that you will never become anything, you're told that you're stupid, you're just told so many bad things, you can believe that, or you could change your ways and believe that you deserve better. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of feeling good in your body, no matter what it looks like. Because change doesn't happen overnight. For that 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years of trauma, of hurt, it's going to take you maybe the same time or double the time to work through it. But that time is gonna pass either way. If you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, you still have another 40 years of your life. Would you rather stay the same, or would you rather say, you know what? This ends with me. This pain, this suffering ends with me. And I don't know how to do it myself, Lord, but help me. Help me find the way. Then you have to take actions towards that, because it's not just faith, it's actions too. That's why I was talking about frequency and how you emit. Emotion is energy in motion, how you act. You'll have to put effort into what it is you're doing and how you're changing and how you're bettering yourself. And eventually what you start to do and start to believe eventually will start to come back to you. You'll start to meet people who are actually the same energy as you. And you will be tested. You will be brought people that look like they're good on the outside, and then something happens and they show you who they really are. Do you stay or do you evolve? Those tests will either push you forward or put you back. That's why you must have faith in something bigger than you. Because being by yourself and only sitting with your own mind and thinking you are in control of your life, you're not in control of it. Life will keep happening to you. Someone may pass, then you turn back to drinking, or you turn back to abusing or yelling at people or not knowing how to control your emotions because you think that you're in control of your life. You're not in control of anything. Life is a series of experiences, negative or positive. You are the observer of your life. You are not meant to sit in these emotions. You're meant to experience the emotions. You're meant to feel the emotions. You're meant to work through the emotions if they're negative. And you're meant to do better. You're meant to emit better love. You're meant to teach how to do better. A lot of us would rather be around empty, insecure, shame-ridden, guilty people and not change our ways because those people validate us. But those are devils around you. Those are people who are also lost themselves. The blind leading the blind. You have to say to yourself, what am I getting from these people? Why am I surrounding myself around these people? God will help you. He won't speak to you right away because he doesn't know if your heart is pure. He's there. He's listening. But you won't hear him until you start believing in yourself to be better. That you deserve better. That you are meant to know better. To have better relationships. To have better friendships. To have better self-identity. A lot of people don't even know who they are or what they represent or what they are about or what their life is meant to be. A lot of people are just walking through the earth, living day by day, and their actions are based upon what other people tell them. You can't live your life based off other people. Other people don't even know what they're doing. If you believe only in yourself, you'll experience the same tragedy over and over again. Even if you progress a little bit and then you fall back into your ways, that progress is gonna seem like nothing because the hellfire that's coming afterwards is gonna be 10 times worse. When you decide to take that path of walking alone, if it means you have to cut off family or friends or be by yourself because you're surrounded around so many negative people, it's going to feel like you're walking through the forest with a flashlight, your phone flashlight. You're surrounded by so much darkness and you could only see literally right in front of you. That's what the journey is gonna start off like. Once you start progressing and you're getting deeper in the forest and you start to become comfortable within yourself because you're not worried about your surroundings. Eventually, once you start having confidence in yourself, you start to realize that your flashlight is not even turned all the way up. You turn your flashlight all the way up. Maybe at the beginning you couldn't think clearly, so you didn't know to check if your flashlight was even on, or to even check if you had a flashlight in your backpack. You're so focused on your ways and what you've been told that you're only using that tiny light to lead your way through life. Once you turn your vibration upwards and you start believing that you deserve better, that light brightens. Once you start to believe in a higher power that's going to lead you out of that way, the sun starts to rise. Then you realize, okay, there is some scary stuff in this forest, but I have a higher power that's going to lead me out. That lion may scratch me, but I know I will find my strength and I will defeat the lion. That's how you have to think. That's how you have to think. The night is long, like your journey will be, but the more you practice, the more you retrain your mind to have new muscles, new train of thought, new concepts about life. That life isn't actually what you've been told, the negative experiences, the shame, the guilt that you've been told, that life can be different. You can take that step for yourself, and it will be uncomfortable. You know that. It will be difficult, you know that. But you know, if I actually complete this and I get to the other side, who is that person going to be? I would be happy to know that person. Because that's such a foreign concept to me, to be happy, to be at peace, to not worry about whether people are going to talk about you or not, because good or bad, people are going to talk about you. Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, people will talk about you. You have to get to a point where you don't care. So then are you going to continue doing bad, or are you going to start doing good for yourself and let them talk? So yeah, guys, that's it about this episode. I hope it wasn't too confusing, but I think the message is pretty straightforward. Retrain your bad thoughts to become good thoughts, so you can believe in yourself, so you can vibrate at a higher frequency, and eventually when you're at a better frequency, you can have the mind space to accept a higher being that is there to help you, to help guide you through these tough emotions, to help guide you through these tough experiences that you have to process, because you can't do it alone. That's why therapy will only get you so far. Therapy is good. Talking to good friends is good, but those people can only get you as far as they know, right? Some things You just have to give it up to God and let Him show you that He can get you through it. So, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for listening if you got this far. Leave a like or comment. Let me know what you think. Feel free to share this to someone who may need to hear how to be different, because some people may not know. If you're surrounded by people who are all deaf or blind, how would you know how to change, or that there's a different way, that you don't have to take the road most traveled, that there's a narrow path that you can take? It's hard to know when you're surrounded by people who don't know themselves. There's no identity to themselves. So I'll see you guys next Monday. I appreciate you for listening. Love you lots. Bye bye.